Go ahead. You had a question?
Yes, sir. Two. The first one is when you say you're targeting this, making this your mission, does that just mean that your offer process kind of flips around to this being the first strategy versus, the last resort?
This is always my second or third strategy. The way that I do this. So what did I do with them?
Well, how do you target it?
Yeah.
How do you
So right
target
here,
deals?
watch. What did I do with them? The first thing I did, offer 200K. I said 2 to 220 cash, right?
Right.
If I get to, and in this case, what I'll do, it's 800 is the sale price. And let's say 200. If I really want to stick to only doing uh this no money out kind of deal, what do? I go for a much thicker margin. If you put down 90K and you made 176% in 9 months, would you do it? Of course.
Yes.
Exactly. So what I'm doing now is I'm offering them lower prices so that it's even juicier and they have a higher chance to say no. But when they say yes, like
Uh,
this guy said yes. I was like, dude, if I get 200K for this, I don't need to finance anything. This is awesome. Doesn't mean I won't. When I get closer to closing, what am I going to do? Hey, would you want to finance 100K? I'll pay you interest. And what that's going to do is I'm going to be putting 40 grand into this deal and turning it into 300. That's pretty sweet because they're financing the rest of it. I'll ask him, hey, would you be willing to finance this for 1 year? I'll pay you 7% interest. You'll get to defer some of your tax. It'll be nice.
got you. Okay. And the
So I start off with the cash. Okay. Second, they say, no, 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 that's not possible. No way. Second, what the reason I contributed the land on this one is because I didn't like the margin. You see this? If
Mhm.
if I offered them seller financing and I said, "Can you seller finance? I'll give you 20 grand down and a $250,000 loan of seller finance." The problem is if I don't make money on this deal, I still have to pay them back their 270. You see that?
Right.
So step option two is seller finance always, unless what? Not enough margin. And then three, partnership. Usually I'll give them 30% profit. So I will always try to seller finance second, then I will do a partnership because seller finance is technically better. Why? If it was, let's just say I offered them 175K, they completely rejected it. You're crazy. We want 220. I said, okay, you want 220, no problem. 220, I could do that, but I would like to seller finance and do $50,000 down. Now I go, oh, okay, $50,000 down. They're going to give me the rest of the money. Cool. So in this case, I put 50 grand down and I do this deal, most likely because they're giving me a loan for 110 and the total actual down is 93. The 50K down won't actually come from me. The 50K will come from the lender. So I'm bringing no money down. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
it
So
does.
seller finance, as long as the seller finance, like the amount of loan they're giving me is greater than this down payment, I bring no money to the table. But what's the benefit of seller finance over a partnership? I get all the profit.
Mhm.
If I do a partnership, I give them 30% of the profit, which ends up being 41 grand. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal, but I could, let's say I'm like, hey, you get 30%. And I'm like, okay, let me look at this deal. What would I actually get? Because it has to be profitable. I'm going to get about 97 grand on this deal. They get a baseline number of, let's say, 220. Because if it was a project that penciled, meaning margins, I would say, hey, we'll agree you get 200,000. You carry the land for me, and then we'll split the profit after your 200,000. You get 30% profit. You would walk away with technically a total of 200 plus 41,000. You would get 241 or whatever, or in this case, 261. Sorry, 220 plus 41. So I would talk through that kind of agreement. My agreement right now with the other guy is 200K for the land. The two deals I'm doing right now are two lots next to each other. We're building 2,700 square foot homes. They're costing 180. We're going to pay a 10% builder fee. They're going to sell for about 975 per comps. And I'm splitting the profit 50-50. Okay. If you want to get into this game, you want to learn exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, you've been following along, you're seeing all the different projects, the way that we structure our day, how we do things, and make money in this real estate development game without actually having to be that contractor or licensed agent, click that link below, fill out an application. You can get on a consultation with my team. If it's a good fit for you, we'll put a roadmap together, and then you'll have a personalized group chat with myself. We'll be jumping on Zoom calls every single week, and we'll be absolutely crushing it together. So I hope you enjoy. Take care, and as always, let's build up.